the choice. The choice is strategically placed in the phases of healing. I know it feels as though you've made the choice. Because isn't the choice the moment when you decide to heal? Isn't the choice the moment when you leave? There were a lot of choices in undoing. No, the order isn't out of order. Because here's what's different about this choice. The choice I'm talking about today holds something that's been missing from every other choice you've made up until this point. I want you to think about that for a moment. What's missing? People don't want to heal. Why is that? It's hard. It's exhausting. It's emotional. It's draining. It's sad. And yet we all ask for healing. Healing is so you can experience what you are meant to experience. Now, what you are meant to experience, we've already identified in this journey. Your pain is not your purpose. So you are not meant to go through trauma so that you can be someone who overcame emotional pain. Emotional pain is part of the process. You're here to experience desire. Desire. Think about it. Every choice that you've had to make on this healing journey up until now is full of requirement. It's full of obligation. Well, I want to heal, so I must leave that toxic relationship. I want a better life, so I have to go through this overcoming of my conditioning. These shoulds. You see, there are some choices on the healing journey that you should do. You should. But there's a moment when it turns. There's a moment when all of a sudden desire steps forward. We're in the middle of our journey. If you remember at the very beginning, I mentioned we would be healing the vibration of confidence. I mentioned a wall, a brick wall. There's a beautiful demonstration behind me. There is a wall where we can't see through and a wall where we can. A window a beautiful view. The first phases are on this side. If I were to move the camera, you would see a white wall. And it might be beautiful. But on this side, we see through a window. This is a beautiful demonstration of the law of contrast. The law of contrast is not so that you understand pain. It's so that you understand why you are healing from pain, why you're doing the work. It's so you can have a view. It's so you don't have to live your life in a room with 4 white walls. For the last few years, some of us have felt that way. Trapped, stuck. So the choice is a beautiful moment when we see both. The glimmer of hope starts to shine through. Let me tell you something. That window is how you see inspiration. That window is how you are able to connect to opportunity. Now, when I tell you hope and inspiration are the most important feelings, they are. Because your brain does not understand them. But also because desires outside the window. Now, there's been a lot of choices. To wake up is a choice, and sleepwalking. There's a lot of emotion in breakdown, not a lot of desire. In awakening, there's an abundance of clarity, not a lot of desire, not a lot of choice. Undoing is the least desired phase, not a lot of desire. Now, when you're on the healing journey from emotional pain, hope is hard to find. It takes effort. It takes work. Inspiration is hard to connect to because desperation is much easier. If I were to give you the choice with 4 white walls, you wouldn't see the desire. You'd be connecting to a choice that makes sense in your brain. The choice we are able to see both where we've been and where we want to go. I'm still at a crossroads. There is a choice. I'm not talking about the choice where you decide what you're going to eat for breakfast, what you're going to wear that day, how you're going to get to work, what you're going to do this weekend. I'm talking about the desire. Your desire. Now, we have created a very, very unique process. We call it the choice method. This is where the magic, the inspiration, the hope all step forward. Now, what's the motivation? The motivation is the why. Your why. Your desire. Your desires are your why. And in this moment, it's important to look out the window to see who you are. Because there is a moment where you are leaving behind and walking away from an older version of you. Some of you may say, well, I want to run. I don't want to be this version. Get me out of here. But when you run, it's never because a choice has been made. If you run, you are running away from something. Here, we are not moving from left to right. We are moving forward. Forward. Hi. We're moving into you. You see, as I step into me, I am the whole screen. Here's what they tell you out there. This is right. This is wrong. This is good. This is bad. Go that way. And I am lost. I have not stepped forward in confidence. I have stepped away from me. We're here to tell you. The choice, our process, our method aligns both and allows both so that you can step forward and step into the most confident version of you. So let's dive into some magic. Yeah? We'll call it magic instead of crazy. It might sound crazy. But what do you have to lose? The choice method. This is where we elevate alignment. The brain must be put on the shelf. Put on the shelf. Out of the screen, just over there. There's the brain. We can't get rid of the brain. The brain does not define who you are. Every human has one. Every brain functions a little differently, just like any other organ or muscle does in a human. And yet the brain is beautiful because it holds our life. When the brain stops working, so do we. We can't hate the brain. It's beautiful. It's what connects us to life. But it's a tool. It's an organ. We only go around hating an organ when it's not working the way it's supposed to. We've already identified why it's not working the way it's supposed to. And that's okay. Here, there's an acceptance of that. It doesn't stop you from moving forward. It doesn't stop you from desire. The brain does not understand two emotions: hope and inspiration. So we put it on the shelf. Anytime you start to process how to make something happen, you're in your head. Here is the most important phrase to use. I've already given it to you guys, and maybe you've forgotten. To get out of your head. To get out of the brain. I'm willing to believe that possibly maybe. I'm willing to believe that possibly maybe. I'm willing to believe that possibly maybe. This is not a commitment. It's not a promise. It's an openness. It allows the view to happen. Put it on the shelf. I'm willing to believe that possibly maybe. See, right now is a beautiful moment in the journey where you are able to see more. If I were to stand here and try to explain what outside looks like, I'd have to really try very hard. And I'm not going to feel confident because I might be wrong. But when I stand here and I look outside, wow, there's a person there walking. Oh, there's lights, there's buildings, there's movement. I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can see. I can see more. If you are not able to connect to hope and inspiration, you are not at the choice. If you are feeling desperate and trying to make something sound perfect, the perfect opportunity rarely is. It's a nugget for you. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And yet, your desire, your view is out here. And so for the first time, you have the opportunity to see yourself, the real you. You have an opportunity to see what you want, your desire. Now we have the brain on the shelf. It's beautiful over there. Out of the frame. Now, what's left is our soul and ourself. Our soul and ourself. So we have our brain, we have our soul and ourself. And here's where the crazy comes in. Oh, the magic. Here's where the magic comes in. We are going to visualize. We're going to visualize you as two different people. The soul side of you has its own mind, which means it has its own desires, emotions, wants. And so does yourself. Yourself has its own mind, desires, wants. Let's just say, for argument's sake, you're watching this video so we can all agree. We don't know what will happen after we leave this world, but we do know on some level that our soul lives on. Doesn't really matter the details. Our soul is eternal, which means this person is eternal. I am the eternal person. This person has a very short time to exist. This person only lives in the moment of time the brain allows. Do you see how each person has a different motivation? This person might get frustrated with this person, while this person might get frustrated with this person. We have already learned this. The bartender's hot. The soul doesn't feel sensation like the self does. And yet, the self doesn't feel meaning without the soul. People have taught you how to connect and focus on this person. We go to Arizona, to a healing center, in a vortex. What are we doing here? What is this? We have bills to pay. Breath of fresh air. Finally. See what happens when you go home. After a week-long healing, you feel tired. You feel like a punch in the gut because you're back to reality and life sucks harder than it used to be. Some people call this spiritual awakening. Maybe it is. But maybe this person has to go back on Monday super pissed off that I've had to be sat in a corner and told to be quiet for an entire week. Because for an entire week, we didn't have to worry about anything in life. So for a week, the self was avoided. Now, I could imagine the self wants payback. So now we're going to go to work and we got to make up for lost time. So now the soul gets told, sit down and be quiet. You had your week. You had your time. Now we have bills to pay. Now we have the reality. Maybe you go to a beautiful psychiatrist. And that psychiatrist is trying to help you, and you are saying, I need help. The psychiatrist is processing the brain. The brain isn't even in the frame. It's needed, it's necessary for when we are ready for the how. Maybe you get a promotion at work. The promotion you have been waiting for. And you step into that promotion and you feel nothing. See, we as humans are taught to focus on one, either or. You can be someone who appreciates work, drive, ambition, success. You can be someone who has intuition, connection, who has meaning. You can be someone who relies on facts out of the frame. But I'm not just another person on the internet picking a focus to teach you. Here at The Inspired Lifestyle, we are helping you merge into one. While allowing the brain to still exist. Alignment. Acceptance in totality. That is what we are teaching here. And so how do we merge? We have the brain on the shelf. We have the soul, its own mind, personality, the self, its own mind, personality. You've seen some examples of why these two can be different from each other. We must know who each person is. If you want to know who you are, you look at your values. Because no matter where you are at in life, what situation you are in, your values should be always present. So you need to identify your values here at the self level and here at the soul level. Because we are going to have a conversation between the two versions of you. Healthy communication means each party feels heard, seen, and valued. You don't talk over each other. You are heard. There's a respect. And when healthy communication is present, there's an agreement. We're not going to use the word compromise. We're going to use the word agreement. Because here's the funny thing about these two people. They dwell together. And so when one is doing well, ideally, so should the other. And so sometimes the soul may have to bend a little to the self. And sometimes the self may have to bend a little to the soul. But guess what? When there is trust and faith in the other, when there is respect, when there is healthy communication, when there is an agreement, when there is the choice, acceptance in totality happens. Alignment is truly possible. Again, here's where the magic comes in. You're going to have a conversation back and forth. You can visualize this, you can journal this. You can work with me. I know it's a little hard to visualize. We have a workbook. We have a visualization available. We also have the choice experience, which is down below. You might want to check it out because you could be standing here with me or online, and we can be handling your choice with someone else directing. But you can do this on your own. But you need to hear through the lens of each to know who you really are together. You need to look at the desires of each. What is it you want? What does the self want? What pain has the self had to endure? The soul. What does the soul want? What pain has the soul had to endure? Because guess what? Each side has consequence from the other. There are deep soul wounds from the toxic relationship you chose because you thought it was love. We don't have a lot of money. Whoever you are, soul, wanting purpose and meaning. Yeah, we followed that. We're poor. You have to be honest. You have to feel. I mentioned each version of you has its own emotion center. Let me fill you in on a little secret. You ever wonder why it is you chose that toxic relationship? How could I have been so blind? Maybe we feel like that person's our soulmate. We're destined to experience this pain together so that we can grow and evolve and feel deeper. Here's the thing. If your soul has its own set of emotions, and yourself does, it means one side of you can feel emotions without the other. And so that bartender, whew, no shame in the game if you're a bartender. We're talking about a bartender in my life. That bartender. Destiny. We locked eyes. I felt love enter the room. It was so magical. Time stood still. God. I found him. Myself did. Myself did spark. Myself did feel connection. Sparks were flying in half of me. My soul side, no, how could you really? Yeah, yeah, really. You don't understand this side of things, but yeah, really. And yet sometimes our soul feels sparked when our self doesn't. Wouldn't it be fun to just live off grid? We could have just some nice quiet time, recharge a little bit. You're so busy all the time. Without the internet? And yet sparks could be flying. Alignment is when sparks fly together. And that's when you step into the choice. See, we can't live off feeling alone. We can't live off emotion alone. Because if you live off emotion alone, how do you know which side it is? And if you live off emotion alone, how do you merge the minds? Guess what? It's time for a new era. The last few years have been full of destruction, of chaos. And from that chaos, we will rise. New information is needed. It's time for a new way to align because it isn't really working. There's nothing wrong with you. Information has been outdated. And with the destruction and chaos of the world comes rebirth and creation. So maybe you are in the right place at the right time. We have created this method from the depths of our self and soul. Magic and logic. There are times where everything will make perfect sense, and you can Google and you can see scientific evidence. And there are other times where I can't even begin to explain to you how we're able to deliver this information to you. Trust and faith. The choice. Brains on the shelf. I'm willing to believe that possibly, maybe, your soul has a personality. Yourself has a personality. We're talking back and forth. Now both have given their desire. Which brings you to the choice. What will you choose? The beautiful part is an agreement means both. An agreement means both. But what we are going to explore is priority. Priority. What step is first? You see, in alignment, your soul and self will not be at odds with the other. The emotions might, the beliefs might, the resentments might. But when you truly heal, when you truly take time to know who you are, your desire will always merge. We have been holding a choice experience for years. We've never experienced anyone not being able to make a choice. We have experienced a lot of confusion around the choice, which is why we've spent so much time orchestrating the choice method. I know it sounds complex, but with practice, it becomes a way of living. It becomes a mindset. A mindset. A merged mindset. You see, we're all looking to feel fulfilled. We're all looking to belong. We're all looking to heal. We're all looking for the ability to show compassion towards ourselves so that we can accept ourselves. But it isn't possible without the both of you. And so maybe it's crazy. You might feel a little crazy talking back and forth to yourself in your journal. Maybe you have a different journal for both parts of you. Well, my green journal says this. Well, my purple journal says that. We orchestrate very powerful hypnotherapy methods in our visualization. Because we also invite the brain. We invite the brain back. And we do figure out the how. We figure out the lifestyle. The how to live your life with intention, to stay in alignment with your merged mind desire. Hope and inspiration are absolutely the most important feelings. You need strategy. You need logic. You need purpose, meaning, emotion, intuition. You need it all. But if you want to avoid massive effort in a direction without fulfillment, you must align. This is the inspired lifestyle. And even on the healing journey, you get to be a part of it. The healing side isn't a pause, it's a beautiful form of growth. In fact, some of you watching this might have started your journey with us from Step Into You. And it's time to heal. Some of you may not even know what Step Into You is. Go check it out. It's what's coming next after this journey. At the end of the day, we are always going to want more. Anytime you ask for more, there's going to be a choice. You don't make just one of these. I mentioned this is a lifestyle. You will have a choice, and then another choice, and another choice, and another choice. You will have several choices, time and again. Anytime you want more healing will need to happen. Anytime you want more, priorities change. Anytime you want more, new commitments come forward. And anytime you want more, it's because you start to see more. As we move forward in our healing journey through the next few phases, you will see more and more of the view. As we raise the vibration of confidence, we will also raise higher. Imagine what the view looks like from the penthouse suite. You can see for miles. The view. The view is much more beautiful than it is from the basement floor, than it is from the room with 4 white walls. And so is life. You are not meant to dwell in the basement of life. You also don't have to wait for the penthouse to start to see the view. We're only a few floors up. It's beautiful. Healing creates more view. And isn't that essential to living a life that you love? The choice is powerful. Don't overthink it. As I mentioned, there's many different ways that we can support you and guide you here. But this is the moment. This is exciting. You get to see you. You and you, the real you. I'm so excited for you. Keep an open mind. Keep an open heart, an open soul and self. Creating the lifestyle is how we wake up every day and know what steps to take, what aligned action is needed, because we'll know our priority and our decision of choice in the agreement of the minds. The choice dictates what happens next in the story of your life. This is the moment where the story picks up pace. Hope. Hope is here. I know if you're on this healing journey, you are experiencing emotional pain. I'm willing to believe that possibly maybe. I can feel confident. I can feel like me. I can feel aligned without being fully healed, which is such a beautiful reason why the choice is so delicately placed in the middle. You don't have to be perfect or healed in order to have a pivotal moment of transformation in your life. In fact, this moment, this version of you is the one that you will always have the deepest respect for. When you look behind you, feeling successful in the achievement of meaning you have found. Your love.